Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F1 Project Phoenix, a 2022 career mode. Today we're here for the final episode at Brazil. If you missed the previous episode at Singapore, recommend going and check that out. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen that one, we missed out on the championship. Very heartbreaking because, you know, since we arrived in the Ferrari only 5 races ago, I've been utterly dominant. 2 poles, 3 wins back to back. We'll look to add to that in a row at Brazil. Another good track for me as well. I'll come to that in just a moment. But you know, it's a little shame that we couldn't take the fight to Red Bull and Verstappen in the final race. Mercedes are also looking for improvements. Gasly and Vettel hasn't been the dream team really that's trying to solve their problems. Ever since Lewis Hamilton retired, George Russell was fired from the team. As well, you know, I mean, especially Vettel. I think he hasn't had a great time in the Mercedes car either, as well. So there are lots of rumours as well for who could be going there next season. Meanwhile, new double world champion Max Verstappen says he wants to finish the race, the race and the season on a high, as well. Yes, of course, he hasn't won since Belgium, since our very first race for Ferrari, so he hasn't won since then, so he would like to be able to win again. However, in qualifying, it's me that's on pole, a 3rd in a row. You'll never see, I think that's probably 3rd and final pole on this game at this rate. Gasly's alongside and trying to get something out of his Mercedes. Verstappen is in 3rd. Lando Norris starts 4th for McLaren. Sebastian Vettel continues his good qualifying form. He starts in 5th, but will he be able to say? Leclerc is on the soft tyres, so he's 2 stopping. That's goodbye Leclerc. Daniel Ricciardo starts 7th alongside Alex Albon in 8th. Can Albon get in front of other people in front? As we know, he has better race pace in this series. Thierry Pourchaire and Antonio Giovinazzi in all Alfa Romeo 05 as well. Both will start on the soft tyre. Both will do a 2-stop at least in this episode. Outside the top 10, free choice of tyres, George Russell starts 11th alongside Carlos Sainz, who starts in 12th place for Alpine. Lance Stroll, another good qualifier, he starts 13th. Liam Lawson finally doesn't have a penalty. He starts up in 14th position for AlphaTauri. 15th place is Oscar Piastri alongside Esteban Ocon. Both failed to get out of Q1 again, unfortunately for them. The car isn't where they want it to be. Mick Schumacher starts 17th alongside Dennis Hauger. It's his turn to have a penalty as opposed to his teammate Liam Lawson in this series. And finally, on the back row of the boot, it's the usual suspects of Valtteri Bottas and Colton Herta, but one final time today for today's Brazilian Grand Prix. So yes, Interlagos, Brazil. Good track for me. I have won here on this year's game, and we start on the course. We start on pole position as well, so it should be an easier start than I've had in other races around here. Excuse me. As well, you know, Interlagos, the Ferrari seems to have good straight line speed, so we'll be able to power up the hill. Middle sector is probably the worst part of the track for me, as well. The AI always get a good run out of 5 towards 6, but then through the middles, the slower parts of the section, you know, we're able to neutralise the AI as there's rain forecasted. Typical Interlagos fashion. Rain is forecasted at the end of the race. I think though, that's a light rain indicator, and the last rain indicator there could very well come after the race. So although it's heavy rain forecasted, will we actually get to Inters? That's why I'm thinking we're just going to go straight, do the dry one, and if it rains, we'll see if the rain comes earlier or later, then we'll just live with it. I mean, the hard tyre is actually a very good race tyre anyway. as well. Not too much difference from the soft or the medium. So 5 red lights in for one final time. And away we go, and it's a good start. We cut to the left to block off Gasly, who gets a worse start than Verstappen, but comes back at Verstappen through into turn 2, and Gasly is able to cut through up to he's down up to P2, as well as Alex Albon out here is up to P4. Lando Norris though is all over the back of the tyre driver in the Red Bull, and it's only a matter of time before Norris gets past. As well, Leclerc unable to improve, and well, here is Norris here, having a look. He's got DRS. He's going to try to go around the outside of Albon, but Albon does not give up the position lightly. But that is only a matter of time before Norris gets past, as I said. As Liam Lawson's time in this race is out with an engine failure. Very poor reliability from that Red Bull powered AlphaTauri in this latest series, with all the penalties he's had, and now an engine failure. So Kiwi is unfortunately out of the race, but his moment in the light came at Belgium. So up to the line we come, and well, we've got Gasly. He's coming back. Oh, he's banged tyres there on turn 1. Didn't want to bend tyres with Pierre, but we forced him out into turn 1. Something's happened to Schumacher. I think he's had a spinala. He's down to he's been lapped already. It's only been lap 9, so he could well be a few laps down as well. But the Maserati Andretti, all like with Haas in real life, their expectations is all about real life. Is all about the new regulations. As Gasly, it does have a little look again, but nothing doing there. And there is Leclerc. Hasn't we just? I think we've demonstrated that the Ferrari does have good tyre wear at times, but Leclerc seems to struggle with his tyre wear. I don't know what it is with Leclerc's AI struggling there. We've jumped to lap 15. We managed to set purple first sector as well by pushing it with the ERS as well. Green middle sector, of course. It's never really purple in the middle sector, and obviously we're coming into the pits, so a good in lap there. The medium tyres have pace. Now onto the hards. I think that's Ricciardo in as well. I think he's also going to the hards as well. So Ricciardo doing one less stop. Where is Gasly and Verstappen? They're coming right on side as Sebastian Vettel sets a new fastest lap of the race, and there is Gasly going through. We're going to slot in between Gasly and Verstappen, but both of them are stopping in this race because they both strapped on the soft tyre, and the soft tyre will not go the 20 laps that's left. So this is huge. Norris is closed in behind as Verstappen takes the better line up the hill, but we're going to be able to force him out on the inside there as we go into the series of hairpins there. Jumping to lap 18 then, we've got to have DRS as Gasly's tyres start to fade, as does Verstappen and Norris, all which are on the soft tyre. We're going for the outside move, lovely move, and we're through up to back into the race lead on lap 18. As we jump to lap 23, we'll lap Dennis Hauger, who's going to do us a favour here and block Gasly. You see, it is starting to get a bit overcast with 13 laps to go. Jump to lap 29. All the drivers behind us have now made their final stop, although it's not going to be their final stop because everyone is now going to come in with 7 laps to go for a set of intermediates. Of course, it was this time in season 1 at this point that the Ferrari pit crew went on strike. Fortunately, they're not going on strike today, so that issue has been fortunately resolved. We're all coming in though. It's time for intermediate tyre, but we have such a big lead over the second place car, which we'll come to after we got through there. It's perfect time as well. DRS disabled. There's a few lap cars. Alfa Romeo's a double stacking, not great. Showing that Porsche and Giovinazzi are well paced with each other as we go through Alpine. It really didn't matter. We really should have just come out behind him. As we come out, as there is Gasly. I mean, we've come out ahead of him, but he's on the soft tyres, so he's going to lose loads of time on this lap. And well, he's actually going to lap Stroll there. As Valtteri Bottas' miserable season is coming to an end as well. He is out of the race with an engine failure in the Williams. He hasn't had a great season though for the Finn, unlike has got less points than he's managed in real life in 2022. But here's the race order then. I lead from Ricciardo is now in second place, who's done one less stop. Norris has jumped Verstappen in the pit stop, so he's P3 ahead of Verstappen P4. Leclerc P5. Gasly has lost out to P6 with Vettel and Albon. Albon losing out as well in the pit stops as well. So yes, a little bit of a dull end to the Grand Prix and this series, unfortunately. But we're up to the line. It's another dominant victory as new fastest lap of the race as well in the intermediate conditions. So yes, Daniel Ricciardo finished second ahead of Norris in third. That secures McLaren's P3 in the constructors as well. So, you know, McLaren, they've had a topsy-turvy ride what happened here. We wouldn't, Verstappen, we would have had to, we did have fastest lap, but because Verstappen would have hit, even if we had managed to get Verstappen, you know, Verstappen would have had to finish P9 in order to win. So he did what he would have done what he needed to do anyway to finish. Outside the top 10, not a lot that can be said inspiring wise. Schumacher doing a 5-stop. I think he suffered a puncture on his intermediates, and then he burnt out his soft tyre, so he basically did lots of stops, and as a result was 2 laps down. Bottas and Lawson unfortunate not to be able to finish the season at the checker flag. So yes, the final standings, Max Verstappen in the end only won by 8 points to myself, just show how dominant I've been in this with 4 wins and 3 poles in a row as well. Leclerc slips behind Ricciardo as well, so Ricciardo in the end finished third despite not winning a race. Leclerc also didn't win a race. Albon slipped behind Norris in the end after his poor race as well. There were no other changes elsewhere. In the bottom half of the championship as well, no real changes because none of them scored today as well. 3 drivers actually finished pointless in the Bottas, Herta, and Dennis Hauger finished bottom, but you know he didn't have the best of luck as well. And of course we've said goodbye in this series to the likes of Alonso, Hamilton and Tsunoda, all of which and Perez in fact as well. Those 4 departed for Belgium. Final constructors standings then, we would have been able to have taken the fight to Red Bull as well if Leclerc had got that second place at Singapore. So again, even more frustrating that he didn't manage to. McLaren P3, Mercedes P4 as well, and none of the other teams scored points, so it's actually Williams securing a 6th place finish, so 1 place further down. But you know, a lot of those points came from Albon's win at Canada. A few other points as well for Piastri as well. He had an okay first season in Formula 1 as well. So yes, that was the very last episode of this series. If you have enjoyed, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see plenty more F1 2021-2022 related gameplay. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.